say, kids? What time is it?
Recently, Marvel Comics writer Jerry Dugan took to Twitter to let the fans know that the X-Men comics have been written for themselves, for the other artists, writers, colorists, letterers, editors, you name it. But it was to entertain themselves within the comic industry. They basically told the fans, keep your opinions to yourself. We don't really care if you like this material. And please don't send us any story ideas, God forbid. We don't care what you think. We're in this for each other and for ourselves. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Exhibit A. Hey everybody, Keith here with another quick little video, little news brief here. I don't even know where to start with this. All I could think of is, we've seen the decline of our entertainment, specifically in these franchises that we all know and love so well, especially this whole idea of punishing or berating the longtime fans, the people who have spent their money and kept these franchises alive for decades. I gonna out myself here. I was 8 years old when the original Star Wars, not A New Hope, the original Star Wars was released in 1977. And I've been continuing to hand them my money for years. But starting with J.J. Abrams' hijacking of the franchise, which I was one of the few people who watched The Force Awakens and thought it was terrible. And then the decline from there. I mean, The Last Jedi took three or four sittings for me to actually get through. And then Rise of Skywalker I actually went to see in a theater and was just appalled. I went to the theater because it was free. That was the only reason. I had pretty much thrown up my hands at that point. Kind of went for free to watch the car crash because it was a rainy day in January. And Anyway, let's get to this. People have constantly, well, not constantly, but a lot of people lately have been like, why are you so negative? Why are you down on this stuff? Why can't you just enjoy it for what it is? Why can't you be entertained? Well, it would be one thing if it was entertainment, but this is not entertainment. This is, again, activism masquerading as entertainment. When you hire people like Leslye Headland, and just before we go any further with this, she was Harvey Weinstein's personal assistant. She knew what Harvey Weinstein was doing. Never said a word. I'm just going to leave it at that. But, we saw the High Republic whiteboard leak out a while back, about a year ago, I would say. And, you could kind of see they have it broken into 3 columns. And, when diversity comes above relatable characters, and in column 1, and then in column 3, we're back to, where is it? Diversity's in there somewhere. There it is. Representation, right under dinosaurs. Dinosaurs. So I guess this is the kind of thing where it's like if you saw the South Park episode where they had the, what were they? I forgot what they were. Mantas, not mantas, but whatever they were. They would go get the ball out of one jar and throw it in another jar, and that's how they got the story idea. Manatees. They were manatees, and they'd swim over, grab a ball with a topic on it, and then swim over to another thing and drop the ball in there, and then that's like this. They'd say like, let's go diversity plus droids plus dinosaurs. There's our idea, and it's reflected in the books, which are hot trash. But this takes the cake. Left me speechless. I couldn't believe what I saw. Basically, Leslye Headland's making a show for herself and her friends, and doesn't really care about the fans. So Data Racer on Twitter, who does all this great work collecting tweets to, quickly give you the Cliff's Notes of a narrative or a controversy, if you will. Great job, Data Racer. You are the man. Quickly breaks it down for us. So Leslye Headland's interview on her new show, The Acolyte. Bullet point 1, thinks Star Wars is about politics and fan opinions aren't valid. Bullet point number 2, hired a writer who's never seen Star Wars. Let's file that one under what could possibly go wrong. And bullet point number 3, female and queer representation is a top priority. I literally cry when I see it. And Data Racer thinks it's going to be a train wreck. I think that's being kind. So let's take a look at this really quickly. So, of course, the Access media is fawning all over this. So let's see. Let's move this down. Acolyte showrunner Leslye Headland explains why queer representation in the Star Wars universe is so important to her as a super fan. She's such a super fan that she was asked last year when she was hired what her favorite Star Wars is, and she said, all of them. Star Wars Acolyte showrunner Leslye Headland isn't worried about the passionate fan base of the franchise when it comes to crafting her show. Clearly, she's not. The Acolyte Leslye Headland explains hiring a writer who hasn't watched Star Wars to help with her Disney Plus series. Again, what could possibly go wrong? The only thing I'll say about that is, again, I'm a big Star Trek fan. Harv Bennett and Nick Meyer had never seen any Star Trek before they made the Wrath of Khan, but what they did was they invested themselves in the lore. They watched every episode top to bottom, and that's where they got the idea to do a sequel to an actual original episode, and made, still to this day, the best Star Trek movie ever made. But something tells me that the person Leslie's hired is not going to do their homework. Star Wars Acolyte writer Leslye Headland says she hopes to keep reflecting on George Lucas's political themes in the Disney Plus series. It's truly what he was interested in talking about and looking at digging into fully, I guess that's the rest of it. But no, she's missing the point. Star Wars is actually a fantasy, and it's just an amalgam of the hero's journey. I mean, you have heroes, you have villains. Let's save the princess. And it's kind of, yes, it's an allegory for World War II, because you have the literal stormtroopers and the big evil empire, and then you have, the rebels. It could even be an allegory maybe for the Revolutionary War, with the same thing. You had the British Empire, and that's how this country was founded, right? With the rebels that broke away and came to form our own nation. Anyway, she's completely missing the point because she's using it as an excuse to insert her identity politics into the show. So let's continue on, shall we? So Data Racer clipped some of the sound bites from this article at AV Club. Just want to quickly point some of these out too. So right here she says, we're going to lean into this particular genre, which we know inspired George. What inspired George were old serials, Buck Rogers, Flash Gordon, that kind of stuff. Even the swashbuckling stuff with Errol Flynn, clearly, because you get the sword battles in a science fiction. George picked from all kinds of different fantasy and science fiction. He was not cherry picking from the day's news, the political news of the day. And that goes for ideology as well. I mean, it's funny because a lot of the feedback that I'll get, yes, you will, you're getting some right now, and I use the term feedback very lightly, but when I do go on social media, the feedback is, don't make Star Wars political. I'm like, George Lucas made it political. Those are political films. They're political films, in again, a very minute allegory, and he's just drawing from history to create the good versus evil conflict. That's basically all it is. She says war by nature is political. That's just what's up. You're missing the whole point. It's really a Joseph Campbell mythological story. So you're wrong, Leslye. Let's go to this one right here in the middle. There are a lot of people like myself that were later in life Dave Filoni acolytes. Oh, look at how cute she used the name of the show. I literally had one writer that was like, quote, I've never seen any of them. I've never seen any Star Wars media, unquote. And she's texting me before we started the writer's room, and she's like, quote, Luke and Leia are brother and sister? What the, unquote, and laughs. Okay. This franchise is in good hands, folks. Next up, this top right column. I saw a video of a little girl dressed up as Rey at Disney World or Disneyland or whatever it was. Because, right, I mean, they're only signing your checks, Leslye. Don't really pay much attention to what it is. My wife sent me the video. It was so cute. I'm watching it and I'm kind of like, quote, okay, cute, yeah, got it, unquote, and then just started crying again. Oh my God. She's like female Kevin Smith. Let's see, over here, I'm blocking that one. I can move myself. Whoops. No, I'll move myself. I'll move myself so we can see this one. To have the power when you're creating media to just put in certain types of people that maybe aren't necessarily in normal mainstream content or media is just, I know that for people who don't identify that way, it doesn't seem that important, but to us, it's huge. I literally saw an Orbitz commercial with 2 women going on vacation, and I was like, again, crying. It hits you on a level that you don't know you're missing until you see it. Okay. I think, and I'm not saying this lightly, I think Leslye needs some professional counseling. Look, we live in a society. We see this stuff all the time. It doesn't affect anyone this way. Wow. Yeah, let's just move on. Middle column, bottom. You have to feel like this is speaking directly to you, regardless of what you might be going through, at what point in your life you're going through it. That being said, as somebody that is a lesbian, every time I see gay or queer representation in media, I scream with happiness. Again, a little overreaction, and it's this whole idea that she can't enjoy any form of entertainment unless she sees herself in it. And this seems to be a continuing trend with people in the comics industry and in television, film. I mean, we're seeing too much of this idea that we can't appeal to certain groups of people, or we can't appeal to a global audience, or we can't appeal to even ourselves unless we see ourselves up there on the screen. And what you're doing there is you're not being creative. You're just self-inserting as some kind of validation that you're represented in these shows. It really, at the surface level, doesn't affect anything. What we really want is a good story. What we really want is to be entertained. And what we really want is for whatever product you're producing to let us forget about this shit outside the front door for at least an hour, 2 hours, 30 minutes, whatever it is. But these people just don't get it. They don't get it. Let's just check this last one quickly. Let's see. She says, I gravitated toward and wrote fan fiction or identified with because they see who's gay or queer. She says, probably. I mean, one of the things we did in our writer's room to kind of break the ice was ask, who's your favorite Star Wars character? And when you could tell that, people, when I said mine, were like, quote, yeah, well, you're gay. That's because you're gay, unquote, but it's true. I don't know what character they're talking about, and I don't understand why that makes a difference. Okay, this is going to be a disaster. And this is exactly what's wrong with Star Wars, Star Trek, Doctor Who, probably what's going to happen to Lord of the Rings. Pick up any of the big 2 comic books, DC or Marvel, and you see it everywhere. This is a huge problem. And this is when you're checking boxes before you're being creative. You're checking boxes before you honor source material. And thirdly, when you're hiring activists to produce creative content who don't have creative bones in their body. They're just there to force their identity politics and their messaging on you through these big IPs. And it's this, there's going to be I think there's going to be a harsh lesson in this for Disney. This one might be the absolute worst of the Star Wars productions going forward. Time will tell. But this is absolutely stunning to me. Just absolutely stunning. So anyway, I guess rant over. If you liked anything I said, please hit the like button. If you didn't, you can hit the down button. It's fine. You're all entitled to your opinion. I'm not going to judge here. Please subscribe to the channel, share out the video, and we'll catch you guys all soon, but not watching The Acolyte, I guarantee that. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a thumbs up below. Also, please subscribe to GeekTime TV. It really helps us grow the channel. And make sure you hit that bell icon in order to receive notifications every time we drop new content here. You can also check us out on social media on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at GeekTimeNet. Thanks again for watching. We will see you soon.
Say, kids, what time is that?